Year 12, so this is for your Friday's psychology lesson, where we're going to be continuing to look at how attachment type in infancy affects later life. So your retrieval getting a bit harder now because this is a blanked out section of your knowledge organizer. So I'd like you to recall what you can on the behavioural approach, on Bowlby's evolutionary theory, the more recent work on the role of the father and the effect of attachment on later life. So just flag up some of the key pieces of research in there if you can, and then as many of those definitions as you possibly can. So give yourself 5 minutes, regurgitate as much as you possibly can before we move on. Okay, so here's the answer, but you've obviously already got a knowledge organizer, so just check it against that and green pen where your gaps are and turn anything that you need to into flashcards, same as usual. So we're going to be building on this again today, thinking about those key pieces of research that we introduced on Wednesday and thinking about how we can evaluate some of those studies that we looked at. So we're going to be turning our attention to evaluation today. Now, obviously, when you're all distant from me, I'm not able to kind of check your understanding like I might in class with whiteboards or whatever. So I've set up a multiple choice quiz for you. So if you follow the link on this PowerPoint on this video, then you'll be able to go to the quiz. It's only 10 questions. I'll demonstrate it to you now. So if you go, follow the link, scroll down, and it will ask you whether you want to play auto or play manually. Play auto just means you get the answers at the end. Play manually means you get them immediately. So your quiz will begin, and then you just simply have a go. So I'm not going to give away the answer to the first question, but you would just select your question and then it will tell you whether you were right or wrong. Okay, so do please have a go at that and then see where any gaps are in your knowledge. Moving on from then, I want us to really start to develop our evaluation around these pieces of research on this topic of how it affects later life. So I've done the first one on there as a modelled example for you. So the middle column is our evaluation point. They actually are mostly criticisms, although there is one strength in there, because remember, evaluation can be strengths as well as weaknesses. So if I was faced with the central column and it told me that this research lacked population validity as it only used Israeli adults in its sample, that clue about the Israeli adults would make me think, oh, okay, that's that Cohen research. So I'd be writing Cohen in my left-hand column. And then the right-hand column is really important because this is where we really develop our evaluation and get our marks. And that question I always ask you to think to yourself is, well, so what? Why does it matter? So if we're saying it lacks population validity, why does that matter? Well, it means we can't generalize to any population outside of Israel, which isn't really that helpful for us. And why can't we generalize outside of Israel? Because we know that parenting and family relationships and how people deal with different things are very culturally relative. So I'm asking myself the why question, and then I'm asking myself the why does it matter question again. So essentially what I've developed there is a kind of PE paragraph that would form the evaluation part of an essay. So that's your first modelled example. The rest are all evaluative points which will link to one or more pieces of research. Use your key research sheet from yesterday and work out which pieces of research each corresponds to, and then develop it. And that development work is going to be really useful. Now, I don't want to give you the answers to that now. I want you to go away and really spend some time working on that. And then in next lesson, we'll build on that and we'll review some of your answers. So if you can print out the sheet, great. If not, you can reproduce those columns onto a sheet of paper yourself and keep it in your files for your notes for the future. So all of this is building up to us looking at a question, a 16-mark question. And all I'm asking you to do is to create your plan. So here we've got a reminder that when we're dealing with a 16-mark question, we need 2 detailed knowledge paragraphs. So that's when we're really showing our awareness of these studies, but 3 detailed AO3 evaluative paragraphs. We might use elements of door frame for that, or we might use some of the evaluative points that we've raised today, which are more specifically about the piece of research. You can always approach these types of questions where they're asking us specifically about research in a slightly different way. You're still going to get the same result, but you could outline research, evaluate research, outline research, evaluate research, and then a final concluding evaluative paragraph at the end. So you're still getting your 2 AO1s and your 3 AO3s, but you're just structuring it slightly differently. There is no set rule as to how your essay has to read. You've just got to ensure that you keep those elements in. But all I'm asking you to do at this stage is just plan it, and then we'll be building on that in our next lesson. Okay, if anybody wanted to write it up, email it through, and of course I'll mark it for you and give you a bit of feedback, but I'm not asking you to do that at this point. What I would suggest you do once you've created your plan is, as always, see if you can turn any of those pieces of research into flashcards. Can you create any kind of revision tool so that you can keep coming back to it? Just a reminder, I'm sure none of you were struggling for work to do, but I did issue this to all of you before we finished school. And this is just a continual list of tasks really that you can dip in and out of. So as we're covering more topics, we've now covered cultural variation, we've done all of the work around attachment type, the different theories, learning theory, evolutionary theory, the strange situation. More and more things of these are being ticked off, and therefore you can tick off more and more of those independent learning tasks on there. Remember, bottom right hand corner, all of the things that you need to do those independent learning tasks you have. So you've got the exemplar essay pack, you've got your knowledge organisers, you know you've got access to the online textbook, but on this grid that I gave you, you've got a reminder of the login details in case anybody has forgotten, and your topic companions. So just keep using all of those tools outside of our lessons, but I will continue to post and share our lessons on the YouTube channel. So I will see you next time.